Indians by ensuring digital equity and accessibility. We welcome you, sir.
I would like to welcome Mrs. Rekha Acharya, Partner Information Service Group USA. Mrs. Rekha Acharya, an MBA with nearly 25 years in the IT sector, is a partner at the Information Services Group, a trusted technology advisor to the top US enterprises across industries like consumer service, banking, and healthcare. Recognized by the Dallas Business Journal as a top woman in technology, she serves as a judge and speaker in various women and technology forums in US. She is also an angel investor, invests in tech startups. In addition to professional achievement, Ms. Rekha is a political advocate for the National Kidney Foundation, where she engages in Texas and US Senate representatives on kidney-related policies, contributing to discussion at Capitol Hill on national kidney health initiatives. ISG, a leading global technology research and advisory firm, has more than 900 clients, including 75 of the world's top 100 enterprises. We welcome you, ma'am. Mr. Priyadarshi Sadangi, Chief Operating Officer, Emerging Tech COO in Industry 4.0 Software Technology Park, STPI, Bhubaneswar,
is also among us as a guest speaker. Sadangi is an AI-based startup founder and a tech enabler who works as a Chief Operating Officer of Emerging Technology COE of Software Technology Park of India, that is STPI, and STPI Next at Bhubaneswar. With a BTech and MBA degree, Priyadarshi has been successfully mentoring to multiple startups in deep tech in India. He founded My Startup Yatra in 2016, catering to Tier 2 cities, representing and promoting entrepreneurs. He performed his leadership roles in different IT firms, including Valunar, Earth, Nolexon Innovations, and Tech Private Limited, JL Technology, Core Software, and many more. So let's invite Mr. Priyadarshi Sadangi as a guest faculty of the plenary session. I would like to, last but not least, I would like to introduce and welcome Mr. Rashmikant Das, Enterprise Architect, MTech CSM Technology, Bhubaneswar. Please put your hands together to welcome our guest for the plenary session. Rashmikant Das, sir, Senior Technology Architect at CSM Technology, brings over 19 years of experience in AI, analytics, and enterprise architect. At CSM, he has led groundbreaking projects in GovTech, mining, and smart city sectors, developing AI-driven framework, IoT-enabled solution, and large-scale data analytics platforms. With deep expertise in machine learning, data warehousing, and cloud infrastructure on AWS and Azure, Rashmikant delivers impactful, scalable solutions that drive digital transformation. His innovative approach harnesses AI to address complex challenges and advance technological solutions across various industries. Welcome you, sir, for the plenary session. So before we start the session, I would give a short introduction to the theme, that is a government perspective on AI in India. Artificial intelligence has taken, the whole world and providing opportunities to complement and supplement human intelligence and improve how people live and work, in their day-to-day lives. So in this line, the potential of AI, the spending on AI machine learning has been on a steep and upward curve. I would say that AI expenditure is in India saw an increase of 109.6 during 2018 to reach $665 million,
Moreover, AI expenditure is projected to grow with a CAGR of 39% over the period of 2019 to 2025, touching around $11,781 million by 2025. As per Niti Aayog, by 2035, AI has the potential to add $1 trillion to Indian economy. In the view of possible impact of AI on the economy and society,
To come out with policy framework on AI, Ministry of IT has constituted the following India's National Artificial Intelligence Portal, India AI has also been launched as a one-stop digital platform for AI-related development in India. There is much to be done and way ahead to go. Let's find out from the speakers who will throw light on today's plenary session with the theme Government Perspective on AI in India. To start the session, I would like to invite and request our chairperson, Professor B.P. Sanjay, Senior Professor, Communication and Media Studies, Manipal Institute of Communication, to start the session with his opening remarks. Over to you, sir.
Good afternoon, everybody. We are in the post-lunch session. So a bit of a kind of drowsiness might be there, but I'm sure that the session will be interesting and will, in fact, bring us back. The theme Government Perspectives on AI in India, although locked into a particular description, was conceived necessarily as an understanding of how the nation state or how a big country like India visualizes the understanding and implementation of AI in its programs and policies. We have industry and government experts who are going to address some of the issues, and the moderator for the afternoon session has already thrown some light on some of the basic initiatives that the Government of India has taken, along with some corresponding initiatives that many state governments have taken in this regard. One is the magnitude of the AI induction. Like all major interventions and policies which have technology and technological processes at the back end of their design and development, there's always a perception that whether it is going to be incorporated into the macroeconomic dimension of planning and implementation in any country. This is where probably both industry leaders and advocacy groups will be working closely or advising the governments on how effectively they could use or apply AI. Within India, we have had many cycles of such induction. I did flag some of them in the morning, but whenever a major disruptive or a major intervention comes along, India has been in the forefront in terms of not only recognizing, but there is also always a back-end work that goes on in many of our educational institutions, particularly in this field, in the institutes of technology and information technology, etc., that are spread across the country. But is it just the push for AI that we are talking about, a government initiative? Or what about the response to the consequences of AI? Although we can specifically talk about media, but I think media is a subsystem within other institutional frameworks. The theme of the conference, although focuses on media, we have to recognize, in fact, that all sectors are one way or the other affected by the policies and programs. So while we may have to look at what are the incentives or lack of it in the promotion and introduction of AI. Now you might ask me a simple question, whether AI is indeed the messiah of our times. I would not go that far. If you look at any intelligent or smart network, the ultimate goal is whether it enhances the efficiency or delivers the kind of products and services that the society wants. So fortunately, in this afternoon session, we have speakers who have a global perspective and who are also in the business of consulting with various governments. Some of them are in the process of consulting with Government of India, but some have already had experience in many other contexts. We also have, a lead scientist and an officer from Digital India, and I'm sure that many of us who are looking at Digital India initiatives may have recognized the importance and potential for AI. We are looking forward to that kind of a perspective. I also noticed that there are design and network architects in this panel. So together, we do hope that there will be some kind of a framework that emerges as to how, for example, a large, diverse, and a plural country, to use the cliche, will contend with AI. Many state governments are also looking at what we call as ethical frameworks for use of AI. We in the academia are also seized with, initially academia was, very caustic about AI. What will happen to my students in the class? When Xerox came, we talked about the copy and paste culture. With AI, you don't even have to have a copy and a paste exercise. It can directly be transported into the learning management systems of your respective universities. These concerns are there. But what we have also realized is that rather than spending countless hours on describing and analyzing data, we could spend a lot more time in critically analyzing a data set for which integration systems like AI can be very useful. For example, I don't have to spend a lot of time in, looking at the media and entertainment report. In half a second, all my students in class, in one single go, would have the summary and gist of it. So we spend more of time in talking about the analytical frameworks and what to do and how to go about it. Just one application of how academia has moved away from the initial framework of what will happen to the students and their intellectual output to more looking at it as an aid and mechanism in classes. These are some of the things that we in academia, of course, there's a complete session day after tomorrow where speakers are going to talk about it a little bit more detail. But this particular session, we are going to focus more on the initiatives, policy frameworks. Probably we'll also look at the consequences of some of the policies if they have already been initiated. On this expectant note, I would like, based on the speaker's request, I would call upon our first speaker, Ms. Rekha Acharya, who has already been introduced. Over to you, Rekha.
I request our esteemed guest, Rekha Acharya, Partner Information Service Group, USA, to present here. Yeah. Thank you. A very good afternoon to everyone. It's always a pleasure to speak in my hometown. And this is indeed special also because while I would have spoken in so many forums worldwide, this is the first time I'm speaking in front of my father. So this is truly special for me. Okay. So like the wonderful lady over here, she introduced me. We are technology advisors to large enterprises. In fact, if you take the top 100 enterprises in the world, we would be advising at least 75 of them. We do advise also like the US government, the Italy government, Australian government, and hopefully the Indian government very soon. So with that background of mine, what I'm going to speak about is a little bit of a global context in terms of AI, what's happening, the state of the market, and things like that. And then I'll turn it over to the gentleman here Mr. Amitav Nag, who is very well versed, and he's going to speak about what's happening in the Indian government. So I'll start it from a little bit of a macro view. So as everybody knows, right, AI, a lot of organizations, AI is a very, very strategic bet that most organizations are into. They are putting a lot of, they're betting a lot into AI and what it can do. And especially in the last 2 years with the generative AI, what is happening is it's becoming very clear that AI is going to transform a lot of industries. It's going to create opportunities and risks like never before. And there are going to be a lot of, like I said, challenges in terms of how you can scale at value, in terms of data governance and so on. But it's still the possibilities are endless because think of it like how the internet was young in the 1900s. It took a lot of weeding and growing. So that's the kind of stage we are in right now. Now, what's also happening is, from a global perspective, is in the boardrooms, the CIOs are being asked, "What are we doing on AI? How much do we have to invest?" The businesses are asking that, how is it going to transform our business? How are you going to face the competition? Is it going to help our business initiatives run faster? And these boardroom conversations are actually helping in terms of increasing the spend. So what we predict is that as we move to 2025, there is going to be 50% more of spend on AI initiatives than what it was this year. And this spend is going to, the expectation is there is going to be an increase in ROI with these investments, especially in categories in innovation, efficiency, and so on. Of course, we do predict that, okay, by mid of 2025, this ROI is going to peak, but then after some time, it's going to stagnate. Now, just if I speak, since it's a media conclave, just from a media and entertainment perspective also, it is projected that it's going to grow, this industry is going to grow by 3.5 trillion by 2028, and probably more. And AI is going to enable a lot of this growth for this industry. Now, while I spoke a little bit of the spend from an industry perspective, if you also look at the kind of use cases, right? So the AI use cases are all over. They span across a lot of business functions. But predominantly, we've seen that there is a significant number of use cases identified and implemented, especially in the marketing and sales and communication space. I mean, think of content generation. What not is possible? I mean, with AI algorithms being able to create articles, to be able to create content, visual content, video content, personalized marketing, with the help of just user behavior, demographics, to be able to create that personalized marketing. The use cases are endless, the possibilities are endless. There's one example which comes to my mind, and especially because this is a media conclave. Washington Post, for example, which is a big media house, they use heliograph as an AI tool to create short news, which has become very popular. I mean, people are more and more like getting, especially the younger generation, are getting adapted to a lot of like shorter content, and this is what it's enabling. Another example, Warner Brothers, a big entertainment house there, they are using AI to be able to evaluate their projects. So what it is like, if based on, let's say, the actor's popularity, the genre, the timing of the release, they are even able to predict a box office success. So wonderful use cases, especially from a media, entertainment, and that industry. So it's like it's just going to like ensure there's more creativity. Now, while we spoke about like, okay, there's a lot of possibility, a lot of things can happen, there are still challenges. There are challenges in terms of, like I said, there's in terms of how to scale at value, because what organizations want is like these large victories, okay, not small wins. And for these large victories to happen, it requires the right operating model, which is very difficult because some of these large organizations, it's very difficult for them to change this operating model to accommodate these AI initiatives. So that's something which is happening. They are looking at service providers to be able to help them now with these pilot projects without having to adjust the way they function. Now, but the biggest challenge, right, and the biggest enabler of AI is data. Right? I mean, it's end of the day, it's the data that fuels the models. So when it comes to data, there is a requirement to have right data, but also a requirement to have structured data, which is very cumbersome. And that's one issue. There's also data governance piece. Think of like, okay, a large bank, and this bank can be anywhere across the world. Banks have come up with a lot of use cases, a lot of projects that they want to start. But because they deal with a lot of PI data, personal data, that's why there is a lot of compliance and things that they need to go through before they do any projects. So that's not helping them from an agility perspective. But the point is that, okay, this from a data perspective, data governance perspective, there is a lot of focus worldwide. And which is why we are working with a lot of organizations in terms of AI risk management framework, ensuring all the organizations have that, governments have that to be able to move faster. Now we spoke about, I also wanted to touch upon in terms of like what governments are doing globally, right? So from a US government perspective, what US government is doing is, while they are partnering with the providers and having strategic partnership with providers to be able to run large AI initiatives, but right now the focus is also in terms of ethical AI, right? So which is why there are initiatives like on AI Bill of Rights, which is going on, which basically lays down things like data privacy, ensuring there is no discrimination, and basically understanding what is how does the content comes. Is it an AI content or is it human content? Because the way that the amount of information which is being pumped in, it's very difficult. It's blurring the lines, and it's very difficult to understand whether it's like, okay, it's real content or it's content generated from AI. So that's something which not just the US government, but a lot of governments are focused on, how to remove this biases in AI systems so that, right decisions can be made. So
So that's more from a US government. From a European government, of course, they have more stringent regulations when it comes to AI governance. They have data protection regulation, which is again very, very focused on data governance. We have the China government, which is a little bit relatively less focused on regulations, but they are focusing more in terms of investments in AI startups and R&D. And coming back home, in India government, of course, we are although focused on ethical governance, but also in terms of how can AI initiatives help in terms of for our healthcare, for agriculture, education, and so on. On that note, I'll hand it over to Mr. Amitabh Nag to speak more about what's going on with the Indian government. Mr. Amitabh Nag. Thank you, everyone.
So, thank you, ma'am, for this very insightful global perspective of how AI is being looked at and how what are the government steps towards making it more inclusive and more ethical use of AI in this fast-moving technology-driven society. So moving ahead, because Rekha ma'am will be leaving us for his urgent work. So I would like to request Sir Upendra sir to kindly felicitate him on behalf of the organizer. So let's give a round of applause for felicitating Ms. Rekha Acharya, Partner Information Services Group USA. Thank you, ma'am, for your contribution to the plenary session. It was quite insightful for us. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, sir. So moving ahead with our plenary session, I would like to call upon and welcome Amitabh Nag, sir, Chief Executive Officer, Digital India, Bhashini Division, New Delhi, to throw light upon how government perspective on AI in India is shaping. You're welcome, sir.
Thank you very much, and thank you for inviting me here. I thought that I would start with slide 8. They have grievances, but that is not what is getting into the system and getting solved. And on the government side, when they are trying to act as a service provider, they have a bigger challenge. They have a challenge of how does the categorization of the system happen and the categorization of the complaints happen. On Tuesday, we had a session in Agra with the Minister of Panchayati Raj on how AI and allied solutions can be used in panchayats, in governance and in service delivery. On Wednesday, there was a session in which Honorable Minister of State for Administrative Reforms actually addressed with ASSOCHAM, the industry body, on how AI can be used. And, I had a session with respect to the language technology part of it. On Thursday, we had a session in Telangana government, a workshop in Telangana government on how to bridge the language divide and how Digital India Bhashani division can give some, light to it. Yesterday, I was at IIM Raipur. We were discussing how AI can be used in health. And today I am here discussing on AI in media. So, a lot of activities within the country, and this is one individual. There are many such people who are working. And so, there is an extreme focus. The reason I was trying to talk all about it is that I've been into 4 cities this week, and we are discussing and living AI as of now as far as government is concerned. So please be very energetic about it. So coming back to what I do for living, and then coming back to and then I will talk about what government's perspective or government is trying to do in AI. I am the Chief Executive Officer of Digital India Bhashani Division. Digital India Bhashani Division is a part of Digital India Corporation and the Ministry of Electronics and Information Technology. And the initiative is about, National Language Translation Mission. Bhashani stands for Bhasha Interface of India, which has a mission of creating artificial intelligence model to translate one language to other. Currently, we are tackling 22 languages. We intend tackling more, but 22 is what's scheduled in the Constitution, so we want to do that. What we have created today is, solved 5 basic problems. First problem is automatic speech recognition. That means computer should understand what I'm speaking. So we have, built AI models which in 22 languages which make you understand. You can speak to the computer now, and computer will understand what you're speaking. So that's the first problem which we have solved. The second thing which is all about is that if computer has, encoded or text or voice in one language, I need to translate into other. So we have, built up AI translation models for 22 languages, one language to other. And it is, there are AI models which has been out in the market for that. Then the third part of it is that computer should be able to then speak out to you, which is automatic, text-to-speech generation, TTS, as we call it, and that too for 22 languages, which has been done till now. We also have a lot of printed text. The printed text is actually available in the, you scan it and put it across, so there are a lot of printed text which is around. When you scan it, it comes out as a picture. You have to process it to understand it as a text. So there is optical character recognition, for which again, 22 languages are portfolio on which we are working. The fifth problem is that, there are a lot of names, there are a lot of digital dictionary of the country. There is a dictionary which Odia language would have, and that language would have unique words. You will not hear, for example, Chena Pada somewhere else. You will hear it only in Odisha. So now the dictionary is there in Odia language, which will be there on paper on people's mind, but the computer does not know it. So one of our job is to create digital dictionary of that language. Given all of this which we have created, we are now embarking to the state governments to help us to build it further. So we signed up with, on 12th of this month, we have signed up with Odisha government to actually ensure that we nurture Odia language, to the maximum extent. We celebrate Odia luminaries, we celebrate the people who are there, and we create and add upon the Odia language thing which is there. Now, how are we going to further use it? This is about translation. So translation, the lowest hanging fruit for translation is website. Your all website should be in 22 languages. Your all video should not be in only English or only Hindi. It should be in your own language. Your document should also be in Odia. So that is the first low-hanging use case which we are looking at. But the use cases are much beyond that. because as you understand that we are people live on the other side of the language divide, and they have a lot of material which is there, which needs to be, done across the day when they are looking at. So we are, again, doing 4 types of things here. We are implementing systems which transcend the language barrier. For example, banks provide loans to farmers. Those loans are based on the land records. The credit limit is based on the land records. All land records in the states are in vernacular language. What used to happen was that the farmer used to translate the, it was upon the farmer to translate the land records and take it to the bank who understand English. We created an online system with Reserve Bank of Innovation Hub where the records get transliterated and is fed to the bank for giving the loans. The other part of is increasing productivity. So, for example, the government uses, e-files, e-offices which are there. So what we have done is that we have allowed the e-office to have the, you can speak and write the noting. Once you can speak and write the noting, there is some errors which you can do. There is a huge improvement in productivity. And those who are familiar with government systems would know that it takes 2 hours to print, get a letter. You dictate it first, then it comes back, then you correct it, then it goes back, and so happens. Another example of increasing productivity is that when you are going to, if those who are familiar with police operations, the investigation officer is called to a, scene of crime, and he goes there and he starts writing something, then he forgets, then he sees something, and it is already chaotic. So we have given an application by which he starts speaking. मैं crime scene में गया, मैंने देखा कि वहाँ पे खंजर पड़ा हुआ था, and it all starts getting transcribing. After going back, it plugs into the system, changes a few of the statements, and then files the report, which used to take 15-20 days there. So that's about increasing productivity. The other thing which is there is that you have digital divide, where people are still not savvy with the computer. And there are section of people who are contributing to the economy but not savvy with the computers. So we came across a case in Rajasthan where nurses were not logging the birth records simply because they were not computer savvy. So after a month, somebody would come who was computer savvy, and he or she would take a lot of pride in putting all the data. But from a governance perspective, data was a month old. So we provided a system by which you are speaking and entering the data into the form. So now the data is getting updated in daily basis. So there is about, tackling the digital divide which was there. Then we are talking about literacy divide, people who don't know how to read and write and how they can work across. So the current Chief Secretary of Odisha, when he was Secretary, Ministry of Agriculture, we worked upon a chatbot, a farmer's chatbot, where the farmer can speak out and ask a question in his own language, and the answer will be given to him in his own language. It was first implemented for PM Kisan Samman Nidhi, where Prime Minister is transferring the money, and the money is not actually getting into the bank account of a certain farmer, and the farmer then asks a question. There are about 12 crore farmers in our country, and even if one person faced a problem, it was a huge number. And imagine the productivity gain as well as the other things when you are actually looking at, letting him talk to a machine and get the answers immediately rather than going and knocking the doors of the offices. We intend, these are few use cases. If I just start talking about it, railway inquiry system is now multilingual. Railway Madad is now multilingual. Earlier it was only in English and Hindi. It can now support voice. So there are multiple actions by which AI is being used. We created about 340 models, AI models, to support this kind of a system, and this is rendered through a platform called National Hub for Language Technology. Having said that, this is one of the use cases which has already been developed, deployed, and is working. About 100 million hits on the system every day, right? Now, when we have done all of this, there is, now that it comes to the AI, and Government of India launched India AI Mission in March this year. It's a $1.2 billion program, 10,100 crore program for the country. And there more will be done, okay? So it has got 7 pillars. The first pillar is about, getting compute. So, 25,000 plus GPUs will be available for Indian market to develop, deploy AI systems. And that is for that, the, procurement process is already on, and you would soon hear more about it. The second part of the thing is to create data sets. So there is another pillar called India Dataset Platform, which will be launched in next 2 months, when you will see how the data can be collated and the data sets can be created. As you know, data is a primary driving force for all AI models. Unless you have digital data, AI models will not succeed. To give you an example, when we started this language initiative, we had data only for 6 to 7 languages, digital data. We went into the market and created those digital data from the market by giving a mobile phone and hiring 200 people who went to the field and asked the people to actually speak out or write and translate, those who wanted to do that. And then we created the digital data and trained the model. That's why when we are collaborating with the state, we are looking for more digital data. So the second pillar is about data, India data set platform. The third pillar is about creating indigenous large language models. And it is closely tied up with, language initiatives which are there. There would be initiatives around it, and we would be looking at multilingual large language model for this country. The fourth pillar is all about creating applications. AI is all about use cases. We can keep creating models, keep creating all the things which are around, but we need to have, applications around it. So those applications will get created. There is next pillar, which is about skills. So there is a huge program of creating AI skills in the country. Then we are talking about startups. So we want to incubate about 2,000 crores is put on bet on startups, so that they are able to run and build the system. And the last pillar is about safe and trusted AI. We want AI to be safe and trusted, and it should follow the mechanisms of being accountable to what it says. It should not be saying that I have done something, you want to use it, you use it, but I don't own it up. Use it at your own risk is not the way Indian AI going system is going to be working. We already have 8 projects given under safe and trusted AI, so this is going to be proliferate. So my urge is that, put out your use cases, on the language and otherwise. We would be very happy to actually support any initiatives which are on language, culture, and AI here. And it's, all the AI development in future is going to happen around use cases. You're not going to actually say that I want to develop another model. Please come up with use cases in the media domain, every domain. If you send me the use cases, we will start seeing how we can address it. So second part of the thing is that build skills on AI, and we would like to organize local hackathons and grand innovation challenges, so that you are challenged to think beyond what you are looking and thinking right now, and building these things up along with you. And also, one of the focus of this particular mission and the language mission is to move to tier 2 and tier 3 cities. We are not only looking at Bhubaneswar as the key city, but we are looking at going to Cuttack, Sambalpur, all the cities in Rourkela, all the cities which are there, and the villages, so that we are in a position to do 2 things. One, make AI ubiquitous as far as usage is concerned, and second, take enough use cases into the system so that we leave no person untouched with the AI, because at the end of the day, the way the Industrial Revolution changed our lives, AI will also change our lives. So it is better that we get the people inclusive right now, and colleges, young students are one of the largest vehicles for us to take it forward. So work with us. We will also work with you. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for your insightful deliberation, it was quite proven and quite evident that how AI is changing the way we are working, making our lives more seamless. And definitely, when Sir has thrown light upon how use cases are important and how our youth has to be skilled, and they are the talent pool which has to be trained in AI, and he's ready to provide the opportunities, providing through hackathons and different platforms. So AI has a long way to go, and definitely the ethical use does matter in this line. So thank you, sir, for your insightful deliberations. And I would like to invite our next guest, Priyadarshi Sardangi sir, Chief Operating Officer, who's among us, to join us on the session on the panel. He's Chief Operating Officer, Emerging Technology, COE in Industry 4.0, Software Technology Park of India, STPI, Bhubaneswar. Please have a round of applause for him. Moving on to the next guest speaker, I would like to invite Mr. Rasmikant Das, Enterprise Architect, MTech, CSM Technology, Bhubaneswar, to come and start his celebration and present. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, Tapasini. So I have a presentation to share. Can you open it? So a very good afternoon to everyone. So can you open the slide? Yeah. Thank you for giving. Yeah. So thank you for giving me this opportunity to speak on AI and specifically the government perspectives on AI. So to start with, let me show you, like we all are using like ChatGPT, LLMs, Gemini, Claude, those kind of LLMs or AI tools we are using on our day-to-day life, right? So AI become a very household name nowadays, right? Everyone, it's not an unknown name to everybody, right? So right now we are in a stage of, it's a very nascent stage of AI, which is called artificial narrow intelligence, and through which like some specific tasks we are able to perform through AI, right? Whether it's a language translation or whether it is a language generations, okay, to extract some insights from a particular phrase or from an article. So all this information AI is able to do that. So in the next stage, which is will be AGI, which is artificial general intelligence, where the AI can itself split the goal into multiple tasks, multiple tasks, and act upon it to reach upon a certain goal, right? So that is the next stage of AI, where we will see that in next 5 years, of course, right? And next, which is artificial super intelligence, which is expected, after that, like within next 10 years, it is going to achieve. So where the AI will surpass the human, right? Like whatever decision is not taken by humans, so AI can perform that. So it's a hypothetical term nowadays. So we'll see that that phase will come. That advanced phase of AI definitely will come, right? So if I'll describe AI in a simple language, so AI is not magic. So it's all about a mathematics. It's a mathematical formula, right? So sometimes what happens, like if your data sets and from your input, or whenever you are creating a model or creating a formula, so there are some specific parameters you use. if you use some wrong value in that parameters, definitely some wrong predictions or some wrong result will come, right? So you cannot tell AI will 100% correct always, but we can minimize the error or the bias of the AI's output by adjusting all those parameters, right? So with this, I can say like AI is converting your data into numbers and create some patterns of it. Okay. So this is some basic understanding about AI. So accordingly, because we need to expect that much from AI, you can't tell AI will do 100% correct or do everything. Okay, so we need to set our expectations accordingly, right? So India has set a very clear path in this journey, like India's digital transformation journey, which has started from 2015. So many great applications has been already successfully deployed by India's, whether you take the Aadhaar, which through which like 1.3 billion of individuals' digital identity has been stored, and on daily basis, government is providing so many schemes, so many benefits by validating all these records. Okay, so many transactions are already been doing on their platforms. EPI is another such platform where you are able to send 1 rupees on a digital platform to another users, right? So like this, so many initiatives has been already been taken by government. So why I'm telling this is like for AI, the ground has already been set. Like the people of India know what they expect from a digital solution, so how they can interact with the digital solutions. So those things has already been said, right? So if I tell you on AI impacts on India, like definitely it will affect the job sector. We cannot deny job market. We can deny of that, right? So when the computer came at that time, all the typewriters jobs are impacted, right? Affected. So accordingly, when this AI will come, or that will affect also some downstream jobs. But most importantly, it will create another opportunities, like another jobs will be created also, right? So variety of roles like prompt engineers, data analysts, let's say and data annotator. So all those jobs will be also created in different industries, right? So we can say AI is projected to add $967 billion to India's GDP by 2035. And on each year, like with a 20% CAGR, the AI is adapting or getting adapted by the users of India, right? So if I show you some global perspective, like India is right now in the 10th positions. So from some parameter like talent, like the operating environment, India is doing very good. And with some there are still some challenges like infrastructure. So those part has to be covered, has to be taken care. So once it is done, I think India can be the within the number 3 rank, right? Right. So this is a report global as per Global AI Index. So there are some big giants statements. So all are expecting something like India will be a game changer in this AI transformation journey, right? So you can see the statement of Bill Gates, Sundar Pichai, Satyam Nadella. So everyone's expectations from India is too high, right? So India is already developed so many applications as like Amitabh sir said. So many use cases he have explained. Those are already implemented. Some are also in pipeline. So India is already been transforming all these sectors, whether it is agriculture, whether it is healthcare, manufacturing, logistics, finance, media, entertainment, energy, and e-commerce, right? So all these people are working and identifying use cases to work on these segments, right? So on agriculture also there is a implementation in Odisha. Government of Odisha has already been implemented, where like from satellite imagery with the interpretation of AI model, government is able to detect whether the cropland has a paddy or it's a non-paddy cropland, right? So through this verification data, they are running certain schemes, right? So already it's been adopted by many governments, right? So still, you can see many challenges still exist, and also the government is working to overcome all those challenges, like uh, absence of indigenous foundation models. We all are working with ChatGPT, Gemini. Those are created by using foreign data sets. It may not understand our socio-economic realities or our language, like our languages, our dialects. Okay, so that's a challenge. So to using those models in our downstream applications may be challenging. So then access to quality diverse data sets. So though data is available and through this digital transformations, we are able to generate so many data, but those need to be prepared and labeled in such a way so that AI can use those data. The training of AI models can happen based on from that data. Okay, so for that there is a need of infrastructure, there is need of effort to do all this, labeling and create a diversify or create a like data sets, right? Then computing infrastructure requirements, so that is also being a challenge, and also guardrails. So basically, whenever you are interacting with a AI model, you need to control the output of AI, right? So it should not bias, it should not produce biased result. So it should not, create any information. So, those are privacy risk. So to mitigate all these challenges, so there has to be some policies, some guardrails has to be implemented. So all these are challenges. So through which, as Amitabh sir already been told, government has created a very good foundations, which is called India's AI missions, where we already been explained all these pillars: compute, innovation, data sets, application development initiatives, future skills, startup financing, and to create a safe and trusted AI. Right. So if you see India AI compute capacity, so government already been budgeted to procure 10,000 GPUs. Like already been that maybe we can see that maybe procured in this coming year, where like lots of innovation or lots of research on this Indian language models can happen, and so many applications we can also build on those infrastructures, right? Then Bhassini models, so it's a very good approach to Amitabh sir also. So under his leadership, like you can see Bhassini has already been created 1,000+ language models, whether it is ASR, like active speech recognitions, national like NMT neural machine translation or TTA. So under these categories, like so many models has been developed, and also the researchers, the data scientists, the like students from different IIT colleges, they are also working to create more and more models in future, right? So if you see Bhassini data sets, so these are the data sets has been used by creating these Bhassini models, right? From government data sets has been acquired from the government documents, so websites, newspaper, books. So from the different sources, those data has been acquired, and with the effort, like those has been prepared for creating
this, there's a cloud infrastructure layer has been created. And on top of it, the data repository was there, where whether it's a crowdsourcing data or whether it is a the data coming from different sources. So those are be part of the data repository. So from that, the training data sets and the benchmarking data sets are prepared. So benchmarking data sets are so important because whenever you are creating a model, you need to evaluate that model based on some benchmarking. Okay, you can tell the model's performance is good or up to how much it is satisfying, right? So for that, the benchmarking for data sets are getting prepared, and once the model is prepared, that is being a part of this model repository, where all these models or data sets can be accessed through an API layer. So for that, there is a layer called ULCA, Unified Language Contribution APIs, right? On top of it, there is foundation layer through which you can, by using those APIs, you can interact with those models, right? And there is a reference app layer where like all kind of sample applications, let's say where like ChatGPT, Gemini like tools. So those tools are been placed on that layer where you can like do some specific tasks by using those tools. And also there is a marketplace, so where whatever applications will be done by the startups or the private parties or any researchers, so that can be placed on that marketplace so that users can use or take benefit of AI. So skill program, so already been spoken by Amitabh sir. So future skill, UBI and India, such programs are already launched, and the aim is to create 1 million AI trained professionals by 2030. Right? And last but the least, but not the least, so the most important thing is while we are using AI, so it has to be trusted AI, right? So for that, government is also planning to create some kind of policies, like some tools and processes, rules and governance also, so that the AI's output and whatever the prompt or input given to the AI model, that can be validated by using a such framework, right? So with this, I will end my presentation. So let us hope, let's turn AI into an opportunity, not a threat. So with this statement, I'll end my presentation. Thank you.
Definitely, sir. We look forward to make AI as an opportunity, not a threat. Thank you for this insightful deliberation, and we would definitely take we take pride in India is going marching ahead in bringing out, topping the global AI index at number 10, or there are many use cases that are coming up with around 340 models of AI being introduced by Bhashini, and making life easy and seamless, not just for citizens, but farmers and different day-to-day activities. So we definitely take pride in using how others, global leaders, are looking at AI potential in India. So thank you for your wonderful, insightful deliberation, sir. Moving ahead, I would like to invite Priyadarshi Sadangi ji, Chief Operating Officer from STPI, to present his deliberation. Over to you, sir.
Good afternoon, dignitaries. Thank you for giving an opportunity to speak here. Sir had said multiple things about Bhashini, how AI model is working. Here, I am just going to say what is the perspective from the STPI viewpoint, what you are looking and what you are trying to deploy. As per the report Sir had shared, yes, India do have a very big talent pool. We are not looking at reinventing the wheel by designing multiple models. Rather than we want to purify the data. Most of the data in all the AI models that have been done are using US data sets. Now we are using to do it in Indian data sets. And the second thing, we want to train, we want to make the employable manpower who know how to use the AI tools properly, not to write AI codes. That is the second objective what we are looking at. from the government perspective right now. Third thing, what we are looking as the things which are coming up, or the near future, it will be coming up. In fact, it will be coming up. I can relate, or I will just tell you a small story. I hope everyone had known Elon Musk was doing an experiment using AI in a human brain. Suddenly he stopped it. Why? Any reason? Amitabh sir can say it, but suddenly he stopped it. The reason is that the AI is overpowering the humans in a very, will overpower humans in a very short span of time. So we should be training the AI models in the ethical way. What should be done and what should not be done. Should I be doing, for example, in an exam, should my objective is to learn, or should my objective is to get marks in the exam, or should my objective is to learn and or study an subject so that I can implement it in the later future. We need to implement these things in the AI, and yes, these things are coming up. Being from the government perspective, we are looking into it, and yes, we are focusing into it. So now coming to the other perspectives, what in the AI things, what we are looking into it is the national security. 5 years back, when the tradings were done, most of the tradings, or you can say NSE, BSE tradings, or even I can say almost everyone should be knowing about the crypto, because Bitcoin had crossed $1 lakh right now. So almost 5 years back, hardly there were 1 to 2% of the AI bots which was being introduced or was working. Now almost 60% are the AI bots. You try hard, after a limit, you will never get more profits. It will be limited. So there are certain places where AI is coming, and yes, there need to be some legal laws, or there should need to be some hurdles to be created, which from the government perspective we should be creating, so that we can save the retail or the common people from the problems that will be raised. Yes, sometimes the capitalistic industry will be interested in using it, but from the government perspective, we will be looking, or will be taking care of the common people's agendas, or that will be the objective. And the last thing that I would say about the government perspective, now we are working on the Industry 4.0 segment, where we are asking the industries to start implementing AI in the manufacturing segment to give the maximum output with the minimum errors, and able to make employable resources who will be working on those platforms. That's what my job right now I'm working on in Bhubaneswar. So to sum all the points which I had said, we are looking for qualitative manpower, increase the manpower strength. We are looking for the ethical AI implementation part to be done. We are interested in the security of the data that has been provided, what I was saying about the SEBI or the bots that have been doing the tradings, so that we can take care of the people. And the last thing, yes, we are also interested in making the manufacturing base increase their efficiency without increasing the unemployability, or you can say without reducing the, means we should not be creating unemployability using the AI, rather than we should be creating employability using AI. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for this insightful deliberation of yours and guiding us on this path that STPI's perspective on how you focus on purifying the data, and how we are more focused on creating India data set, training people and more and using AI tools, and rather increasing more employability rather than there is a threat of AI taking over the jobs. So thank you for this very enlightening speech of yours. Moving ahead, I would like to say that we are the house is open for question and answer. So if anybody has any question, can ask from the audience. Yes, sir. Can anybody give a microphone?
So my name is Vibhu Pradhan. I am a Delhi-based independent journalist. So my question is to Mr. Lal. We all know India doesn't have enough data compared to other countries, and whatever data we have, it is not a value. And government is also very reluctant to give access to data to the public. In this scenario, how you expect, in the absence of lack of quality, reliable data, how you expect to provide enough welfare measures to the public through AI? And if it is a challenge, how big this challenge is, and how you likely to overcome this challenge?
And, you know, there are three parts to your questions. First part is how reliable the government data is. So, I would like to basically point out that yes, we had a certain point in time when the data was basically fed into the system as, a necessary evil. We also do at certain point in time when we are registering for something, we say skip or we put some garbage data into it. It was in our general thinking, okay, let's get over the screen and start using the system rather than actually giving the data, unless we started realizing that the data is being used for giving us larger benefits. In 2014 or so, when Aadhaar came in, we actually started cleansing the data. Right? Before that, the passport and the company affairs data were already clean. The income tax data was already clean. The passport data actually was, clean with respect to when it was digitized, and one of the reasons why data was, dirty was that we had distributed systems who did not talk to each other across the states. So, even from a perspective of if I was getting transferred to somewhere else, I would get my own election card, ration card, etc., based on a rent agreement. And that was for me as a simple person, but there were obviously, row people who had duplicated it multiple number of times using this liquid analysis. So as it started getting, centralized, we started seeing the, data cleansing happening. There are, you would have been hearing the news of data not, individual people, the DBT going to direct benefit transfer money going to individual bank accounts, many ration cards getting cancelled, many caste certificates, etc. getting cancelled. So while you might say that we still have some way to go, we have come a long way to that effect. So I won't take that statement on a blanket thing, but yeah, I agree with you that we need to do more. So that is one. Second is that India does not have data, so as to say. We have enormous amount of data because, we are digitizing since about 1990. The challenge which has been happening as it happens is with everyone is that now that data is oil, should I share it? What happens to the confidentiality? What happens to the privacy? What are the mechanisms to share it? Will it be used for wrong purposes? Those are the issues which are prevalent. To that our impact only, as I said, in India AI, we had the India Dataset Program has been created. The India Dataset Program, what it envisages is that it will be educating as well as helping various organizations create their own datasets. Now, creation of datasets would mean that the data is first stripped of the personal identification information, then it is anonymized, and then it is basically kept as a system which can be used by the AI system. Raw data is not usable by AI system. For example, All India Radio has a lot of data with respect to multiple languages, but these are not available for building language models because they have to be created and they have to be curated to become a data set. It has to be a parallel corpus. Namaste, good morning. So unless you tell computer 100 times Namaste is good morning, computer will not be saying that this is saying Namaste as good morning. So data sets needs to be created in that. So that is curation aspect. So in that regard, first part, of course, what government is doing, it will create a India data set platform, which will be a software platform. It would have each and every ministry create and each and every government organization create data sets. There will be a data officer who will be appointed who will create the data set. Those data sets will be available to startup and research organizations for doing the AI work. So the situation is going to change. We didn't have highways some data Act, but we now have highways. So we will have data sets which are going to be done. The effectivity or the most important aspect which we expect from the people is that they should come up with the use cases. So if there is a use case which has got a demand, then going backward and what data set it requires becomes easier. It becomes very targeted data set collection. Otherwise, we are looking like, boiling the ocean. So while the ocean has to be boiled, because at the end of the day, that is the data we need. But which way to start will be given and driven by the use cases. So the most important aspect for all of you is to say that, okay, I want to have a treatment of TB and that needs to be done by AI. So give me the data sets for that. Then there is an army which goes after it to create it. So that's what it would be. So, and the sufficient amount of money which has been put across. I would encourage you to go through the India AI report which is available on the website of METI, which details out all of it, that this is how we are going to go about it in the entire set of the complete, India AI mission. And that would give you some idea of it and closely follow this up. But most important is to contribute, because every individual is going to get affected, so every individual should and would contribute.
Thank you, sir, for your insightful question and the answer given to it. Quite pertinent.
Yeah, good afternoon. So, my name is Munshi Najmul Hassan from Noi Digitech Private Limited. So, we are a company that is into the e-learning and the media industry. And I have three questions for this August group of members. The first question is for Madam Rekha Acharya. She is not there, I understand, but someone can help me to understand it. What I feel is that, sir, to become a superpower, as we have decided, the thought of to be by 2047, we need to do things very differently. Though we may do the same thing, but in a different manner. So one of our biggest...
A request, kindly just wind up and short.
So my first question is that even China is doing a lot of things with using AI, and as you talked about. So how strategically India is doing the things a bit differently from China, so that we probably will be in a better position to come up. Two more questions, sir. The second question is about...
Mr. Nath, sir, I will share that we can share a lot of use cases as a company. So we are also trying to use AI in our day-to-day work, and our work primarily depends on a lot of language translation because we are doing a lot of localization work. So how do we as a company can collaborate with your listening organization? And the third question is Mr. Sarangi.
Very rightly talked about using AI may potentially loss of bit of employment in the shorter run. But how do we ensure that this is not lost? How is it practically done?
I think, many of times we get overawed by the questions. First question I will answer first, and then I will talk about the rest of the question. How is India different as far as implementation of technology is concerned? AI will be one of them. See, there are four lines of thoughts which are going on. One line of thought is about the way US has gone. US has basically given liberty to create private organizations, platforms. They are large platforms, and those platforms are being used to serve people. So it is basically leading towards consolidation. Consolidation actually reduces cost. Cost would reduce your efficiency. Cost will mean that you are more efficient at a lesser cost, and you will be globally competitive. So that's the way it is there. The second way of doing all of this thing is what the European way is. Europe has huge set of legislations, and it is actually in a position to, and most of the fines which are happening and the other things which are happening in US, because in Europe, because they are able to, they are controlling. They don't want to actually take it forward in that sense. While as China is doing it very differently, it has insourced most of the activities and it is doing it internally. And obviously, the competitiveness is getting lost in that scenario. You're looking at it in a closed door fashion. While as in India, what we have tried to do is that we have democratized most of the activities. If you look at NPCI, it is not Master or Visa card, right? It is a bridge which allows so many applications to get developed around it. You look at Aadhaar, it is a digital public infrastructure. It has got the core infrastructure. Around Aadhaar, a lot of things get developed. A lot of applications have got developed. Same is the case with, the Bhashini which we are talking about. Again, it's a digital public infrastructure. You send a mail, you will be guided how to access the API and how to take it forward. So India has a viewpoint of working on digital public infrastructure where we are democratizing technology. We are wanting the startups and the smaller companies to, come forward and build those applications which are closer to people. The challenge with most of the applications which come in are not closer to people. Right? And the last part which we are talking about is loss of jobs when something new comes up, we don't have skills about it, we lose our job, we are obviously worried. But, when this happened multiple times in IT sector, this happened when industrial revolution came in. But one of the things which, which India did well and will perhaps also do well, when Y2K came in, we skilled our people on Y2K. We read lines of codes and we got
the world out of the Y2K problem without world acknowledging it actually, right?
It was India who brought the world out of the Y2K problem. When ERPs came, we did not know how to work ERP. It was external technology. We learned, skilled, and then moved around it. We thought at that point of time that coders will go out of the job. This will happen, that will happen. AI would create a new set of people. There will be data workers, there will be annotators, there will be labelers, there will be people who are around. So instead of looking at that the employment is getting lost, we should look at future skills programs. So again, I am repeating those 7 pillars. 10,000 crore plus crores have been put into those 5 pillars. It is our job to ensure that we utilize it much, much better way. If you want a skilled university or skilled people to develop, approach your state government, ask for that particular skill, open, the state government can collaborate with central government to open skill centers to train on that. So there is a lot of things which have to be done. It's a question of how do we take up on the initiatives part. Right?
Thank you, sir. So moving ahead, I would like to invite our chairperson, Professor V.P. Sanjay, to give the closing remarks.
The speakers have given an excellent overview. Very little to summarize, except to state that the session brought a better understanding of the range of possibilities, potential. And I think the speakers also touched upon the nuances of its application, particularly in terms of interface with regard to the multiplicity of languages and what it could do. I think 2 speakers in different ways touched upon that. And The first speaker was kind of perceptive enough to talk about how consulting firms are looking at advising industries in terms of investment opportunities. And incidentally, she also touched upon many applications in the media sector by default. That's kind of a good takeaway for us in this particular session. So to that extent, I think the overall perspective has benefited. But the other thing important, particularly from communication education, which we often, there was this question that came up among many of my friends and colleagues. What is that? I mean, you're talking about AI and focus and theme. Why are you drifting away from the classical issues of media? But let us be very clear that in communication and research studies, today the kind of topics some of your students are working is nowhere situated in the traditional mold of media studies. They are talking about empowerment, they are talking about language felicity, they are talking about digital divide, they are talking about traders, they are talking about small scale workers. Even the whole world of social media is not just about communication, fake news and disinformation as many of us understand, but they are looking at many applications in sectors, in health sectors, for example, they are looking at it. They're looking at it in education, they're looking at it in online. So I think to look media and journalism education from the pure 50-year-old cycle of profession, challenges, ethics, I think we should be looking forward to some of the new potential. If somebody is saying that about 10 lakh 700 crores is being invested, definitely part of that investment is going to translate into jobs and opportunities in one way or the other. We only look at the money, but we don't look at the kind of consequences it has. To that extent, Upendra Pade was very encouraging when we discussed this topic, that this session has been quite beneficial, and I think we have a very proactive perspective coming from all the speakers this afternoon. I, on behalf of all of you, thank you very much, sir, for all your presentations and perspectives. It has benefited a lot, and we are the beneficiaries of your interventions and contributions. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. While we close our session, I would like to call upon our organizer,
Mr. Padhi, to felicitate our dignitaries on the dais and end the session for the evening. Together to felicitate our dignitaries on the dais. Like to present the vote of thanks as the moderator of this evening of the plenary session. Thank you, sir, for your wonderful deliberations and insightful, deliberations by all the speakers. Thank you, sir. Thank you. With this, we end this plenary session 2 and we invite upon the next plenary session.
Within 2 minutes, we will go for the next session. Next moderator.